It's Friday, May 8th. In the headlines, the government strengthening IP laws to protect brand Jamaica and boost innovation. Billionaire businessman Michael Lee Chin eyes major investments in St. Thomas. In business news, Exim Bank offers rebuilding support for business owners affected by Hurricane Melissa. Regionally, CARICOM election observation mission monitoring Bahamas polling concerns ahead of Election Day. And in sports, Reggae Girls captain Khadija Bunny Shaw reportedly set to leave Manchester City Women amid interest from several other clubs. This is the weekend news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. The government's efforts to modernize Jamaica's intellectual property framework are aimed at protecting local innovation while strengthening brand Jamaica internationally. That's the word from State Minister in the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Delana Seavright. Speaking at the recent Intellectual Property and Sports Symposium hosted by the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office at the University of Technology, Jamaica, Minister Seavright highlighted recent reforms, including the Patents and Designs Act and stronger trademark protections. Minister Seavright says that systems such as the Madrid Protocol now allow Jamaican businesses to secure trademark protection across multiple countries more efficiently. He is urging micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises to register with JIPO, stressing the intellectual property protection is critical for entrepreneurs operating in areas such as sportswear, digital content, sports technology, fitness, and wellness. Seavright warned that failing to protect Jamaican creativity and innovation could allow others to profit from them, arguing that IP should be viewed as vital national economic infrastructure. Jamaican-Canadian billionaire businessman, philanthropist Michael Lee Chin is set to invest in several ventures in St. Thomas. He recently toured the Morant Bay Urban Centre, met with members of the municipal corporation and members of the business community. Michael Lee Chin is hailing the Morant Bay Urban Centre as a major long-term investment, while urging patience as the development continues to attract tenants and customers. Speaking with our news team during a tour of the approximately $6 billion complex in St. Thomas this week, Mr. Lee Chin described the project as a strong example of wealth creation.
FCJ had a vision. But more importantly, they executed on the vision on time, on budget. So it was a wonderful demonstration of what we can do. And I was very happy that that was done by the public sector, because it showed that the public sector is capable of being entrepreneurial, visionary.
He met with several members of the business community. One of them was Zachary Michael Black of Michael Black Farms.
It's a pleasure to see the chairman here, to see that a man of such high structure and high caliber can come and sit with people and work with the people that work with his bank and want to give them a chance to grow and to see the economy and Jamaica itself grow as brand Jamaica itself.
After a tour of the farm and having all his questions answered, Mr. Lee Chin explained that the next step is to strategize on growth.
Every business has to be thinking about growth, right? Every business has to be thinking about efficiency, and every business has to be thinking about customer experience and customer relevance. So I asked questions pertaining to growth, efficiency, customer experience, and how you manage it.
Speaking to the team at the St. Thomas Municipal Corporation, Mr. Lee Chin encouraged them to work with a sense of personal purpose, with the aim of serving their community.
When I'm doing this because of a higher purpose, a calling because it gives me fulfillment to work for my community. I'm privileged. We are all privileged, and I want to make sure that all around me, I build a community that's merit-based, that has opportunities for all.
He's also encouraging investors and business operators to look to St. Thomas for future expansion, especially as infrastructure improvements continue across the parish. The government says major legislative and administrative changes are being planned to speed up Jamaica's adoption process and establish a legal framework for fostering. Speaking at the recent post-cabinet briefing, Information Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon acknowledged long-standing concerns about delays within the adoption system, noting that many children remain in state care while families face lengthy approval processes.
So there are a lot of things that need to be tweaked. I think anybody who has ever tried to do an adoption in Jamaica understands that it needs to be tweaked. Big time. I can say I was once on the list, and I am a foster parent, so I've been through the system, and fostering isn't even legislated in law. So we have to look at how we can make the process go quicker.
She stressed that children are best supported in stable family environments and says reforms are needed both within the law and administratively at the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, the CPFSA.
We have to look at, obviously, the right of the parents versus the right of the child and how we can move it along more quickly. We have a lot of children in state care, and we all know that the best place for our children is in a home with a loving family. It's a family structure that you want them in. And so we have a responsibility to move that along more quickly. But legally, based on the Adoption Act, we're not able to move it at the speed we want to from that basis. So we have to fix the law, and then we have to fix administratively everything in CPFSA to make it move more quickly.
According to Dr. Morris-Dixon, the proposed reforms would also seek to strengthen the legal structure governing fostering and adoption under a single framework.
So it's really about facilitating faster adoptions in the country, and also about adding a framework around fostering, which currently does not exist in our country. So those are some of the key areas.
The government is also exploring whether adoption and fostering legislation should be consolidated under the Child Care and Protection Act.
One of the things we're exploring is rolling everything into the CCPA, because the CCPA, the Child Care and Protection Act, I mean, when you think about it, it would be thinking about adoptions, fostering, and so we're looking at putting everything under that one umbrella. So it's going to be a big piece of legislation, and we're going to take it to a joint select committee because we know a lot of Jamaicans do have an interest in this area, and we want to be able to ventilate any changes that we're going to make.
Everyone has that one person who inspires them and shape the way they live. Reporter Chanel Matthews took to the streets to ask members of the public the persons they look up to.
I am Chanel Matthews, and this is Unfiltered. Everyone has that one person that inspires them, whether it's a family, a mentor, or someone they've never met. Who's someone you look up to and why?
Well, I look up to God. I also look up to my husband. And why? He's my biggest motivator. He's always taught me how the world works before I even got a job. So I look up to my husband and God.
I mean, first and foremost, I look up to my parents, my dad and my mom. I think they're great role models, to be very honest with you. That's the reason why I've been able to get as far as I've been in life. They're the ones who told me that education is key, that being a gentleman is also a key part of just being, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think my parents are definitely people that I look up to, more than likely.
Well, I look up to the Most High, because in these perilous times that we are living in, God is the only source of trust. He's the only source of, who you can really believe that will help you through these times that we are living in.
My mother are the greatest thing in my life. When a woman can feel your mother not feel you. All when you and her cuss, not feel you. Any pain you did and you call her, she always did it for you. I love my mother straight up to events. Yeah.
I look up to the Lord because I grew in church. My mom was a Christian and I grew in church. And I realized that once you trust in Him and believe in Him, then things will go through. And my thing is that there's a little verse in the Bible that said, do unto others as you have them do unto you. And that is my mentor. That is what I do. I treat people how I want to be treated. So I look up to the Lord. He's everything.
So there's an elder at my church. I'm married for about 48 years. And I always look up to him because every Sabbath at church, him and my wife sit down together and them just live loving. And every time we preach at church, I talk about her. So kind of look up to them, man, because 48 years are enough years, So if somebody can be married to one person for that long, I want to know a film secret.
So I have an auntie, her name is Shade. I look up to her because growing up, things that my sister do make sense. I'm always, I say I want to be like her, but I use her as a motivation.
I look up to my mother because she is my inspiration, you know what I mean? Everything that she do in her life, but I like to emulate most of the stuff that I see as a lady, hardworking, dedicated to her job, raise 2 kids. So, my mother is the main person who I look up to.
Time now for the business report with Denise Williams.
Welcome to today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing you the developments shaping markets, capital access, and business decision-making across Jamaica and the region. Let's get into the stories that matter. The National Export-Import Bank of Jamaica, Exim Bank, is encouraging business operators still affected by Hurricane Melissa, particularly small and medium-sized enterprises, to take advantage of its loan facilities. Manager of Loan Origination and Business Development, Hopton Nicholson, said that the bank continues to provide traditional lending to assist the clients affected by the hurricane in their recovery efforts, while addressing the recent Small Business Association of Jamaica Export for Success membership meeting at the bank's Hope Road location in Kingston. Exim Bank provides traditional loan products focused on export development, trade financing, and SME growth, often with lower collateral requirements than commercial banks. These include short-term working capital up to 180 days, medium-term loans for SME expansion, and foreign currency lines of credit for raw material importation. Among the products is the e-commerce funder, which is used to develop, upgrade, or expand e-commerce infrastructure. The loan limit is $1 million to $5 million at a 5% interest rate fixed, and the loan term is 5 years. There's also the Exim Express, which is short-term financing that enables clients to access funds from receivables. Sandals Resort International is accelerating the growth of its beaches, resorts, all-inclusive family across the Caribbean with a US $1 billion expansion strategy. This strategy comprises adding new resorts, expanding existing properties, and opening new destinations for family travel. Jamaica remains central to the beaches portfolio. New resorts are also coming to Barbados and the Bahamas, with the Barbados project marking a strategic expansion into one of the Caribbean's most established tourism markets, while the Exuma development in the Bahamas brings the brand to a destination known for its clear water, smaller scale footprint, and growing luxury demand. For the trading period of May 7, 2026 The most actively traded securities were Jamaica Teas, limited with 10,631,844 units, representing 31.59% of market sales activities. Kingston Wharves Limited with 5,016,095 units, representing 14.9% of market sales activities. JetCon Corporation Limited with 3,009,209 units, representing 8.94% of market sales activity. Investor activity remained concentrated in gaming and shipping, automotive and distribution plays, signaling continued interest in dividend-producing and strategic assets. Turning to the foreign exchange market based on Bank of Jamaica data for May 7, 2026. Forex traders recorded significant activity with strong demand across major currencies. Trading margins for the US dollar reflected steady liquidity, with the US selling at $156.86 and buying at $158.74. For the Canadian dollar, moderate gains supported by $6.61 transaction spread. The Canadian dollar sold for $118.07 and was bought for $111.46. For the British pound, continued volatility offered short-term trading opportunities of $2.77 in profit for the banks. The British pound sold for $216.30 and was bought for $213.53. These movements underscore the importance of cash flow timing and currency awareness for businesses managing import costs, debt servicing, or overseas exposure. For our credit report tip of the day, is your child going to university? We'll start building their credit strategy now. Most parents help their children prepare for classes, housing, and budgeting. Few prepare them for one of the systems that will shape their adult life for decades, which is credit. Your credit report is not just a financial document, it is a teaching tool. Pull it out and walk your child through it. Show them how on-time payments build trust. Show them how high balances create pressure. Show them how long financial mistakes stay on record. Show your children how recovery is possible with discipline. Help them take action early. Start one credit account. A student or a secured card is enough to begin building history. 2, attach one recurring expense, a phone bill, streaming subscription, transportation costs, keep it simple. 3, automate payments immediately. Good credit is built through systems, not memory. 4, keep balances low. Using a small percentage of available credit matters more than having a large limit. 5, review their credit profile together quarterly. Teach them to monitor, adjust, and stay proactive. University is not just an academic transition. It is the start of your child's financial reputation. Teach them to build it with intention. For our funded and focused feature, micro-businesses do not fail because they lack ideas. Many fail because they choose the wrong funding. Fast money from a loan shark can destroy profits before the business even grows. Credit cards can help with cash flow, but only if they're managed aggressively. Microcredit gives entrepreneurs access to smaller structured loans when banks say no. Traditional bank loans remain the cheapest option, but qualification takes preparation, discipline, and documentation. Family and friends can provide startup support, but every agreement should be clear and professional. Some entrepreneurs are now exploring micro-stock markets to raise capital without depending entirely on debt. But the strongest funding source is still customer revenue. Every sale proves demand, strengthens cash flow, and keeps ownership in your hands. The goal is not just to access money, the goal is to choose funding that builds the business instead of controlling it. And that's today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing clarity to capital markets and strategy. Until next time, stay informed, stay intentional, and keep building forward. See you soon.
In regional news, in the Bahamas, Amid concerns following long lines and delays during last week's advance polling, members of the CARICOM Election Observation Mission say they are closely monitoring the situation ahead of Election Day. The team, currently in the country to observe the electoral process, says it will review all major stages of voting while engaging political stakeholders and election officials to address concerns raised about the advance poll process. Here's more in this report.
So last week's chaos at the advance poll saw long lines and hours-long waits for voters, creating mounting frustrations and concerns about what could play out on Election Day. And it's caught the attention of supporting members of the CARICOM Election Observation Mission, who's in town to observe the election process. The team held a press conference yesterday at the British Colonial Hotel to explain what their mission will include. On the agenda includes taking a look at preparations for the start of the poll, opening of polling stations, casting of votes, closures of polling stations, and counting of ballots. When asked about the chaos at the advance polls, St. Helen admits is something they're keeping a close eye on.
We've been having dialogue and discussions with different groups. Obviously, we have to hear what is being said, understand them. Then we most likely have to seek clarification with the relevant party. For instance, we have a meeting scheduled with the Parliamentary Office sometime tomorrow or the day after. So some of those questions which have been raised, some of those concerns, we ourselves then can go and raise them and seek clarification for ourselves.
And St. Helen is the Chief Elections Officer of the organization. While here, the mission's team will meet with the Prime Minister, Leader of the Opposition, and the Leader of the Coalition of Independents, as well as officials at the Parliamentary Registration Department. He says once their mission is complete, the team will then provide recommendations to local officials.
Can I restate that on all observer missions that we go, we are here to observe. The observer mission does not and will not interfere in the process of elections. What we do at the end of the elections, after we've done our findings and our observation, we make recommendations to the government. And we prepare a report by way of a report, and it is sent to the government, the opposition, and it's posted on the CARICOM website.
In Belize, the National Commission for Families and Children is urging media houses and online news platforms to be more responsible when reporting on children, warning that the spread of personal information and sensationalized content online can have lasting effects on minors. News 5 Belize has this story.
Every time a child's name, face, or location is shared online without a second thought, the damage can follow them for life. The National Commission for Families and Children is pushing back, calling on media houses and online news pages to think harder about what they post and how it affects Belize's most vulnerable. In the age of social media, where algorithms reward the most shocking content and false information spreads faster than corrections ever could, the NCFC says Belize's children are paying the price. We heard from Executive Director of NCFC, Shakira Sutherland.
Several times we have noticed that there are children information, age, location, all these information in regards to our children that does not need to be on social media or the internet by itself. So how can we share the information, encouraging the public to know that yes, while they have a voice and an opinion, it's important to post information that will safeguard our most vulnerable population. We did usually garner the attendance of our media houses, but what we are trying to constantly, or the persons who we are trying to constantly work with, are other social media personnels that will, create these pages on Facebook to be news to showcase news items, and so we had shared out these invitations to these online news entities, because we have noticed that a lot of these news entities are the ones that are sharing and disseminating information, incorrect information and content to the general public. These pages will post threat in terms of posting images, videos, going viral with the comments and content. These information can be very much deteriorating to one's image, emotional, mental, physical capacity, and so it's important for these persons to look at what they're posting, think before they post.
One of today's presenters was Ganesha Smith, acting director of the Community Rehabilitation Department, who works directly with young people who have come into conflict with the law. She says sensationalized coverage does not just embarrass children. It can actually push them deeper into negative behavior by cementing a public identity they cannot escape.
We know the social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and we see how there are oftentimes some real horrible conversations, derogatory words flying across to each other. And those are being sensationalized sometimes by our journalists or media houses. And again, it has a lasting effect on our minors. What they do is that they would play these over and over and over. And then it becomes who they are at times, and they regress. So you would see more of them coming in conflict with the law, more of them reverting to negative behavior, as opposed to seeing, okay, this is not something that is being sensationalized or entertained, but one that needs to be corrected from the public.
The message from today's workshop was not that the media should stay silent when children are involved, but remember that a digital footprint can follow a child long after the story has been forgotten by everyone.
In sports, we kick things off with football. Khadija Shaw is reportedly set to leave Manchester City Women when her contract expires in June, with reports indicating that Chelsea FC Women are leading the race to sign the Reggae Girls striker on a deal reportedly worth £1 million per year. According to reports, Shaw and Manchester City were unable to agree on a contract extension despite the Jamaican forward's desire to remain at the club. The reported striking point centered on the proposed length of a new contract. The development follows Manchester City's first Women's Super League title in a decade. Shaw, City's all-time leading scorer, currently leads the league scoring charts and is on track to claim a third straight Golden Boot award. Reports also suggest Shaw has attracted interest from several major international clubs, including FC Barcelona Femení and multiple teams in the National Women's Soccer League. From the world of cricket, the countdown to the 2026 Caribbean Premier League season is underway, with all 6 franchises confirming their breakout player retentions, ahead of what is expected to be one of the league's most competitive drafts. The move locks in several rising Caribbean stars as teams continue to prepare for the upcoming tournament. Nasir Mohammed has that story.
All 6 Caribbean Premier League franchises have confirmed their pre-draft player retentions, locking in 6 emerging Caribbean stars ahead of one of the most anticipated drafts in the league's history. Under CPL regulations, each franchise was permitted to retain 1 player from their breakout player category ahead of the draft. The 6 retained players are Joshua James, Ramon Simmons, Quinton Sampson, Navin Bidesi, Akeem Auguste and Nathan Edward. Representing the Falcons, Royals, Warriors, Patriots, Kings and Knight Riders respectively. Each team must name 3 breakout players in their final 2026 squad and field at least 1 in every match throughout the season. The remaining squad for all 6 teams will now be decided at the CPL draft.
And that's it for the weekend news on PBCJ. Pleasant viewing.